Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Child, we are back. Okay, my other mic went to heaven, but we have a new one. So we're about to get into it as we get into it. So we're reviewing Sistas Season 3, Episode 11. Child, let me tell y'all something. They could have kept this. Okay. And I do mean that they could have kept this. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade. If you are here for a second or third time and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, welcome back. Please don't hesitate to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. Previously on Tyler Perry's Sistas. Well, child, we know that Zach hit the lottery basically with this little stock tip that he got from the lady in the hotel room that was serving him up more than Hennessy. Okay. And then we also see that Maurice is now involved with Q for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure. And then we have Danny sabotaging a perfectly good relationship. Now, child, let's move forward. When the episode first opens up, Andy walks in and the kinky therapist and her little assistant are simulating sex with Gary on Rockhead behind. Okay, now. Now I know Gary don't work. Child, he got too much time on his hands. You got time in the middle of the day to simulate sex? Child, goodbye. So Andy pulls the skis off her man and says, Gary, what the hell is going on? Honey, it's looking like relations, but let's see. So Andy is too calm for me, honey, because let me tell you something. I would have grabbed the back of her head, not her arms. But you know, she's classy based and whatnot. So Gary's like, wait a minute, I can explain. Oh, child. All this because he thought Andy was recycling old sex moves when he was legit still having sex with his wife and an affair with Andy? Honey, he's certifiable. She's like, there's nothing to explain. You got two women in my house and one on top of you. Honey, I look over and they still standing there. Honey, y'all might want to head out. Not y'all gonna stand here like y'all ain't did nothing wrong. Child, I am done. So he's like, well, let me explain. Stop it. She's like, no, I'm not stopping it. This is absurd. Andy, now is not the time to use your SAT words. Girl, cuss him out and put him out and these heifers. So they won't leave. And she's like, I'm calling the police. He keeps saying, see, this is what I'm saying. Now he trying to make her out to be the problem. Child, this is a fool. Do y'all hear me? The therapist is like, if I may, honey, no, you may not. She's like, I'm Angela. Child, not you just gonna proceed anyway. Okay, Ange, honey, get the hell out and take this teddy wearing heifer with you. Okay? She's like, I'm his therapist, and this is Jacqueline, and we're having a therapy session. Child, Tyler gonna have every man in America signing up for therapy. Honey, y'all can act a fool if you want to. Let Tyler get you caught up. Because we ain't going for this in real life, okay? You sitting up here dry humping this woman. That's not gonna work while we're at work from the hours of 9 to 5. Child, goodbye. So she's like, you know, I'm his therapist, and I'm a professional, and she is too. Andy said, a professional whore. Yeah, that's what it's looking like, honey. She said, you can go now, Jacqueline. The way she pronounced Jacqueline was a fool. Honey, Jackie should have been kicked rocks, okay? And then all of a sudden, my girls hold me down. Them boys mess around. And scene. So Gary's still standing shirtless when we come back, telling the therapist, go ahead and explain it. The therapist is like, are you sure? Oh my God. Ladies, start talking or start walking, honey. I hate when Tyler makes them affirm things 16 times. You sure? Are you sure? Yes, we are sure, honey. And we sure we don't care at this point. So Gary is like, yeah. She's like, Gary, you seem to make decisions when you're stressed. So then Andy screams in frustration, honey, because really, what is really going on? What in the whole hell is happening? So Gary starts talking and the therapist was like, tell her what you feel. So Andy started piping up saying, don't touch my man. Girl, not unhand him, you cad. Girl, goodbye. Girl, I'm not about to play with you. Nobody want Gary but you and Jasmine and her rubber bullets. Moving forward. Gary starts telling her he's having a hard time because all he can picture is her and what's his name, right? Every time he tries to touch her. And the therapist starts explaining what this type of therapy does. So Gary holding Andy back. Child, she ain't gonna do nothing. Child ain't gonna bust a grape. Jasmine done ran down on her a few times. Okay, Fatima and her heat had to save her. But go ahead, Michael Jackson, show her who's bad. So Andy starts talking about how she feels when he goes to the gym. She's like, you know what? I feel like I'm not being touched when he goes to the gym. Do you have one of those people that can touch me? I'm like, oh, not somebody that can touch. Shout out to Omarion. I'm like, what? So she says she needs a male model to help her as well. She's like, this is some BS and I'm leaving. So then she turns around and says, unlock it. That was so funny to me because the fact that you have a ring on your finger and you have to turn around and tell this man to unlock it, child, I hollered. So he's like, if I unlock this ring, we're over. She's like, good. Hey, don't threaten her with a good time. She extra mad, okay, because she want to be over there with Rockin' Robin anyway. So, child, you ain't saying nothing to hurt her. She's like, I'm sick of your ish. So he does a little abracadabra and her finger is once again hers. Moving forward. He said, go be with that guy you were with last night. Honey, that's what this plan was all along. Honey, keep up. Are you new? Andy gets ready to leave, but not before she asks more irrelevant questions. And then she tells Gary to get out. Child, he ain't gonna be gone. He gonna be right there when you get home. In the next scene, Danny and Preston are at the crib, and she's still acting funny in that uniform. Child. He starts talking about a cow that he was wrestling, right? And she's like, okay. He said, well, let me just show you a picture. Not showing her a picture of Elsie. Boy, don't nobody want to see a picture of that cow. Child, this is a fool. So Danny is like, no, don't trouble yourself. And it's like, please don't show me that, honey. I'm not in the mood for that. He's like, well, I'll tell you about it instead. So these two are a mess, okay? Danny, let that nice countryman go and go get yourself your type, honey, because you do not like that man and his cutoff shirts. You don't like it. So she tries to get him to talk about anything other than all things farming. Honey, I feel like you and these uncombed curls aren't being fair, okay? Why don't you strike up a conversation? Why don't you talk to him about something? Like, why does it always have to be him? And be a big girl and just tell him what's troubling you. As my grandma would say, honey, what's troubling you? So he starts asking her if she's good. And she tells him it's a lot, with him being there all the time. Sometimes she just wants to come home and close herself off to the world. She's like, I don't think we should have just sex in common. I think we should have more than that. He's like, oh, I thought we did. Side note. I was scrolling through the Instagram and whatnot, being nosy like I like to do. Okay. And I noticed that the person that plays Preston is actually married to a black woman. And the woman actually looks like Danny. I'm like, not life imitating art. Okay, Tyler. Anyway, that's just a side note. Now back to the foolishness. Well, clearly, honey, you're wrong because y'all don't have more in common than you thought. Okay. All y'all be doing is hunching and talking about cows. Moving forward. She's like, you don't like basketball? He's like, and you don't like a hoedown. She's like, you know what? In my neighborhood, the only hoedown I knew was when a bow-legged girl named Brenda fell off her heels. Now, I don't know who wrote that, but it's giving very much Meet the Browns. Honey, I don't have time for this, Tyler. I'm not about to play with you. I'm really not in the mood for your foolishness today. So he goes, so the Brenda in your town was bow-legged. Oh, Cowboy, don't even worry about it, honey. Apparently, they haven't been communicating properly. So Cowboy told her, look, I'm going to go stay with my cousin. And when you want to see me, just call me. Aw, poor Preston. Danny going to miss out on a good man, child. You know they're hard to find out here in these streets, especially in the streets of Atlanta. I'm just saying. I can kind of relate to Andy, though. Because after being by yourself for so long, you just like your own space, honey. But she could have just been honest. That's all I'm saying. In the next scene, over at Maurice's, he's wearing his satin PJs, ready to slip and slide all over the apartment. So he's telling Calvin that he needs to get lost. So just then, the youngin' knocks on the door. Here go Maurice. Can you please get the door for my gentleman caller? Okay, Blanche Devereaux. Child, I am done with him. He is a mess. So then Mr. Sticky Fingers, he comes on inside. Calvin, honey, hide your wallet, hide your ID, hide your checkbook, hide your social security card. Honey, anything that this man can get access to your goods, please hide it. So then the phone rings. And Calvin's like, this is your phone. So then Maurice is like, just go ahead and answer it. It's Sabrina. Here she go. Calvin? Sabrina? Calvin? Sabrina? Yes, Calvin, meet Sabrina. Child, what is wrong with y'all? He was like, what's up? She's like, I don't know. Maurice called me. So Maurice was like, I sure did. Y'all talk to each other and figure it out and don't use up all my minutes. Child, that is minutes. Boy, what you got, a prepaid phone? Child, what is Tyler paying y'all in? Peanuts? Child, not a prepaid phone, honey. I mean, it's been free since like 2005. Oh, so anyway, Calvin is trying to get off the phone, honey, but Sabrina wants to talk, probably in circles. Moving forward, Andy in her ill-fitted blue suit, they go to the salon to visit Karen, honey. So Pam is like, "Oh, I like that suit. Where did you get it?" Andy was like, "It's very impolite to ask people where they got their clothing." Honey, is it? Because let me tell y'all something. I will ask you in a minute, honey. So I've been being rude all this time. Child, did y'all know this? Please comment down below if you think it's rude to ask someone where they got their zhuzh. Honey, I don't think it's rude. I mean, you look cute. Where did you get it? Now, you know what is rude? When people try to lie to you like, girl, I don't even remember. Girl, ain't nobody finna rock it the same way you rocking it that way, honey. I got my own zhuzh. But carry on. So Pam said, girl, we black. I know that's right, y'all, because I know I'm going to ask. So she's like, Karen's back there in the office, honey, but tread lightly because one of her stylists left and now she's stealing all her clients. So, I mean, whatever you going to do, if you're going to get into it as you get into it, you better tiptoe. So she goes in and tells Karen that Gary Rockhead self had 2 women in her bed. Here go Karen. Okay. She said, and one was his therapist. Okay. So she's telling her about the reason Gary is having sex therapy with Dr. Ruth. Honey, if y'all don't know who Dr. Ruth is, honey, just Google her. So Karen said, I've heard of therapists coming in to help people with sexual issues. So Andy was like, really? She's like, yeah, one of my clients had somebody come in and do that. Andy was like, don't you think that's weird? She was like, yeah, and the way I feel about Gary, I wouldn't be telling you it was true if it wasn't. So she's like, well, I gave him his ring back. Karen said, okay. Honey, look, Karen ain't saying too much because last time she showed you she cared, you had a whole attitude. Okay, and quiet as it's kept, Andy just want Karen to co-sign her BS and her upsetness, even if that's not a word, so she can go be with Elder Barge in peace. Girl, just go. Honey, if you want to be with him, just be with him. You coming back over here to Karen now because you know she don't like Gary. So you know that she gonna put the stank on it that needs to be given. And so therefore and thus and such, you don't feel bad for sliding over there in that blue suit. Girl, goodbye. She's like, yeah, he's been going to the gym though, Karen. It don't feel good being on the other side, does it? Now you know how Jasmine feel when she came in with those rubber bullets. Moving forward. Andy is like, well, when would I meet a man that's just drama free? Girl, you love the drama. Stop. Just stop it, okay? So then she was like, do you have anything to drink in here? Karen was like, say no more, honey, say less. So she goes into the mini fridge of it all and pulls out a bottle of wine. So her and Karen share a drink to calm her nerves. Back at Danny's, Preston cooked. She's coming on out freshly showered up in her little robe or her dress. It was something like that. And, of course, Preston made his little specialty, honey. He gonna love to put a steak and a salad together with a potato or some kind of baked potato or something. She comes out and reads this card. And she's just like, oh my God, yes. But honey, she is definitely gonna miss him when he gone. Back at the shop, Andy is leaving. She says she's going home to talk to Gary. Why, I don't know. So Karen notices Pam's wig looks a little bit shinier. Honey, and realizes she's getting it done by the ops. Charlie be your own receptionist. Baby Pam gonna look outside and she notices Zach fine self, honey, pulling up in this nice whip. So he comes in. I guess the theme is blue with this very flattering cut suit, accentuating the arms and whatnot. And it was given what needs to be gave, but it was given a little bit Incredible Hulk about the shoulders. I'm not gonna lie to you, but that's okay. So Pam is like, is that your car? He was like, yeah. She said, you slanging again? Girl, take your newly flat iron wig and go, honey. Go on, wig. So Karen is putting Pam out. And she's like, let me go get my phone so I can take a picture of Zach before he go back to jail. Honey, not on Fatima's watch. And if he does, honey, she gonna hold him down like an episode of Love After Lockup. Do y'all hear me? So as she's leaving, she gonna say, stay free. Child, when I tell y'all, I holler. And I don't really just like Pam's scenes because she is always overacting. But honey, when she said stay free, I died. So now she's gone, child. So Karen is like, so what's up? He's like, I know your girl told you. She's like, no. Girl, please. He says she did, or you would be all over me telling me not to bring the streets all up and through your shop. She's like, just know that 700,000 can go quick. Don't be a hater all your life, Karen. Honey, let him shine for a little bit. He been down for so long. But I hope he knows what he's doing because I am with you, honey. 700,000. You can go pretty fast, especially when you get a car, you get a house, and then what? And you went from I didn't know to almost the exact amount. Okay, girl. So he hands her the money he owes her. She's like, what is this? Uh-huh. Shut you up, didn't it? Yeah, you weren't expecting Zach to come through. She's like, thank you. He said, hopefully it's right on time. She was like, actually, it is. He said, I love you, Karen. She said, I love you too, Zach. So then he gets ready to leave. She was like, where you going? You thought he was going to go back in there by that shampoo again? Oh, no, ma'am, honey. Fatima done worked a little spell on him for now. She said, oh, you going to Fatima's? Yeah, Fatima's. She's like, I've never seen you like this. It looks good on you. Don't worry about it, honey. He looking like something now, ain't he? It's the look of life being spoken into you for me. Honey, you never thought he would get out of that airport uniform. I mean, neither did I, but that's how Tyler writes, okay? So he's standing there looking, getting all his zhuzh, okay? And she's sitting there giving him his flowers. So he's like, you got something you want to say? Now is the best time to say it. She's like, well, should I say, let's get back together? Let's go home. Let's start over. I feel like we said that so many times. And I know you said it so many times. So let's just let things be where they are. He said, I agree. Honey, y'all ain't done. Well, he may be done, but she definitely not done. Okay, and I can tell. Because she wouldn't have asked, well, where you going? Honey, he gave you your money. What you want him to do? Child, goodbye. She gonna cry next to the VO5 hot oil as soon as he leaves. Moving forward. Over at the office, Andy is burning the midnight oil, right? And she calls Robin. So he comes on down to the office and notices that her ring is missing. And then he asks her if it had anything to do with the other night. She's like, no. He said, you sure? Tyler, don't start that. All that, you sure? Are you certain? Are you for real? Okay. Honey, ask one question, answer it, and let's move on. So he asked if she had anything to drink, right? Baby, Tyler gonna keep a running theme if he don't do nothing else. She was drinking over there with Karen. Now she's drinking over here with Robin. Honey, you're going to need an Uber on the way home. I hope you're not drinking and driving and whatnot. So they start drinking until the drink is gone. And now these two are face-to-face kissing. Child, Andy about to have a whole love triangle. And it's about to be a fool because y'all know Gary is a nut. In the next scene, we're over at Fatima's house and she's there on the couch staring off into the abyss. Fatima, at least pretend like you're looking at the TV or something, child. Just sitting straight up with a glass of wine, fully clothed, just looking out into nowhere. Child is a fool. So Zach comes in looking like a schnizzak, okay? Child, Zach know he can hang a suit, baby. She's like, dang, you look good. He's like, you like it? I know that's right, Zach. So Zach was looking like a kid on the first day of school. Child. She's like, I hope you got a place with that money. He said, how about I did that too? She's like, how you do that with $25,000? He's like, I put that money on a stock and it hit. And I got a place and I'm going to start flipping houses just like they do at Chain Breakers, but I'm going to do it on my own. Baby sat down on the couch with great posture, might I add. And Fatima said, what stock is this? Because she needs some verification. Child, you ain't slick. You trying to go put some money down on that stock yourself, honey, and you ain't fooling me. But I don't blame you. He's like, well, let me take you out. She's like, I already cooked. Let me tell y'all something. Never in the history of ever will you hear me say to anybody, friends, grandparents, mama, daddy, sister, cousin, if they offer to take me out to eat, my big greedy self going to eat, okay? So she's like, I already cooked. He said, I want to take you to Maxine's. She's like, that's expensive. Girl, let this man take you out and finally show you a good time. He's like, I got it. She's like, I don't know how much you got, but consider half of that for taxes. Zach said, capital gains ain't half. Okay, Wolf of Wall Street. Girl, just go eat that $100 plate, child. Let him take you out to dinner. How much can a dish at Maxine's really cost? Child, if he can't buy a plate, I don't know what to say. Okay, child, I'm sure he has some residuals. He had $700 before all of this happened. So he's like, are you with me? Of course, he's trying to get her to let her guard down. And he's like, I like waking up to you. I like the way you smell, the way you choke me when you ride me. Oh, child. She said, oh, well, what's different from me and the other girls, namely Karen? He's like, there's no comparison. There's nothing to compare. So then he told her, he heard her voice in the back of his head when he took a chance on that stock. He said, you made me believe that I could do it, so I did. He said, there's not been one woman in my whole entire life that has spoken life into me. And that's why it is so important, even though this is fictional. That's why it's so important to pour into our men. Not that I have one, honey, but when I did, I would, because they definitely need it. They're facing silent battles that we know nothing about, okay, especially our black men. But then I did that and he got his judge and then he left. But I digress. But anywho, Zach needs a partner like Fatima. She's like, Zach, he said, Fatima, Zatima. Are you team Zatima? Honey, not Tyler being influenced by the Twitter. Honey, I hope he heard of some of these storylines, child. She's like, you're not ready. Girl, what you gonna do? Okay, you keep calling this boy over to have the same conversation and talk in circles. What are you gonna do, honey? I'm tired of him begging like he's sweat. Either give him what he wants or, honey, just sex him. Child, just let him know. But finally, she agreed. Now, listen, I know it's scary for Tina. But, girl, just take a chance on romance, honey. Zach, don't mess this up. Moving forward, Calvin goes to Sabrina's house trying to act all hard. Sabrina starts talking, getting ready to question everything about him from his sexuality to his shoe size, honey, and he falls for it. And then they kiss, and I guess these two dodo birds are going to make another go of it. Child. Over at Karen's house, the preacher man shows up to Karen's with ice cream. And that's the thing that brought them together. He starts telling her that he felt guilty for his romp with her, right? So he confessed, and the pastor asked him to step down from teaching. She's like, just tell him it won't happen again. He said, but I wanted to happen again and again and again. Aaron just don't do it for me. Honey, I don't know. She said, that's why you got kicked out. He said, it wouldn't be a problem if we were married. He said, Karen, I want you to marry me. She said, here, eat this ice cream. Honey, not from the same spoon during a whole pandemic. Ew. And Aaron, honey, Karen is not into you like that. It was cool when she was in charge of letting Zach go. But now that they're mutually letting each other go, it's like he's really just letting her go. And she is not for that. She's not for the foolishness. Because y'all cannot tell me that him being with Fatima ain't eating her up on the inside. And we gonna see it when the season resumes. Over at Maurice's, him and his little boy toy, they're in the bed, right? He's ready for round 2. So Q reveals to him that he's gay for pay. So he wants him to pay up. Maurice is like, I'm not giving you nothing. So then he looks at him like, you definitely gonna pay. So then he's like, well, you already knew that. He's like, again, I'm not giving you nothing. You need to get out. So when Maurice asks him to leave, he gets a phone call, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm still with this BAN, honey. Y'all can decipher what that acronym means. And Maurice is looking at him like, what? Not this. Okay. So they looking at each other. He looking at him. Then he pulls out a gun. And Maurice said, what are you doing? Honey, it looks like he's about to shoot you. So then he tells them that they're going to rob the bank. See, I knew giving him a second chance would backfire. Literally. Honey, y'all better not kill off Maurice or I'm going to be pissed. Do y'all hear me? And Tyler, I'm speaking directly to you. And that was the end of the episode. Child, this is a fool. I'm so happy we took this little funny ride together. Tyler Perry is a good kiki if he ain't nothing else. And at this point, he just trolling us via his television shows. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.